The movie begins with a gangster named Qui Lin. He's famous among local gangsters for his fearlessness. He doesn't hesitate to kill anyone who disrupts his life. This time, Qui Lin is at a Mafia boss's funeral, but he's not there to pay respects. Instead, he plans to kill another Mafia boss. When nobody expects it, Qui Lin pulls out his gun and swiftly eliminates his target. After that, he quickly leaves. But some police officers see him leaving, so they chase after him. After that, Captain Chan Long manages to trap Qui Lin, and they end up fighting. Luckily, Qui Lin's excellent fighting skills help him defeat the police officer, and he escapes. However, Captain Chan Long doesn't give up and continues chasing him. They have another intense fight, but Qui Lin proves too strong, and he manages to get away. After the incident, Qui Lin becomes a wanted criminal. 4 years later, a doctor named Chan Hu contacts Qui Lin, who is hiding. She urgently asks him to come to the hospital because her grandmother needs tumor removal surgery. Sadly, Qui Lin has to face the loss of his grandmother, who was his only family. Shortly after, at a cafe near the hospital, Dr. Chun Hu hands Qui Lin his grandmother's belongings, some money, and a wristwatch. Qui Lin looks deeply saddened and puts on his grandmother's pig-themed wristwatch to remember her. Dr. Chun Hu also gives him the results of his health test, revealing he has stage 4 lung cancer due to smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day. Dr. Chun Hu then tells Qui Lin that he only has 3 months left to live. Later, Captain Chan Long meets Dr. Chun Hu and asks about Qui Lin's grandmother's death. Not wanting to raise suspicions, she pretends not to know, deciding to protect Qui Lin, believing he won't live long. On the other hand, Qui Lin seeks guidance at a temple, questioning whether to do the unthinkable or keep living despite his cancer diagnosis. He rolls dice during his prayers to decide, but each time, the dice indicate he should continue living. Despite repeating the process, the outcome remains the same. The following day, while at a bank to deposit his grandmother's money, Qui Lin notices his photo on a wanted poster among 3 police fugitives. This inspires him to pursue a new goal. He confides in one of his gangster associates, expressing his wish to become the top fugitive before he dies. Later that night, Qui Lin visits Dr. Chun Hu's clinic and intentionally takes her son hostage to seek her assistance. He shares his dream of becoming notorious before his demise. To achieve this, he plans to eliminate the current top 2 fugitives, aiming to establish himself as the most notorious criminal in Taiwan. Qui Lin plans to gather details about the top 2 fugitives treated by Dr. Chun Hu. Eventually, she agrees to provide information for the sake of her son's safety. Surprisingly, the second fugitive, Hong Ki, frequents her clinic for pain relievers due to a nerve condition. He's recognizable by a snake tattoo on his hand and sends a girl to collect the medicine to evade the police. As a Chinese medicine seller, Dr. Chun Hu often supplies potent remedies to the Mafia, granting her insights into their activities. With this knowledge, Qui Lin asks further about the number 1 fugitive, Lu Huo, renowned as the most brutal criminal in the nation. Unfortunately, Dr. Chen Long has limited information, possessing only a sick note belonging to Lu Hu's mother, which may serve as a lead for Qui Lin. Having acquired the details, Qui Lin keeps his promise and releases Dr. Chun Hu's son. Using the clue, Qui Lin decides to rent a hotel room opposite the salon. Surprisingly, he discovers it's a hideout for Hong Ki. Inside, Hong Ki and his gang are feasting and partying after a recent murder. During the gathering, Hong Ki flirtatiously interacts with Mei Mei, but suddenly lashes out at one of his men, witnessed by Qui Lin through his window. The next day, Qui Lin visits Mei Mei's salon, pretending to be a customer. However, Hong Ki interrupts and assumes Mei Mei's duties. Though he initially behaves like a regular barber, Hong Ki knows Qui Lin's intentions. Thankfully, the police intervene before any harm is done, and Mei Mei urges Qui Lin to leave, forbade him from returning. Disheartened, Qui Lin returns to his room, only to find it ransacked. Determined to act, he packs his belongings into his car trunk. That night, Qui Lin, fueled by his cancer medication, sets out to confront Hong Ki. He starts by eliminating Hong Ki's driver. Meanwhile, Hong Ki anticipates Qui Lin's arrival. As they clash, Captain Chan Long unexpectedly arrives at the place. Shortly after, Captain Chan Long spots Qui Lin chasing Hong Ki. Seeing an opportunity to capture both fugitives, Captain Chan Long decides to target Qui Lin, fueled by a grudge from their previous encounter 4 years ago. They engage in another fight, with Qui Lin emerging victorious once more, even breaking Captain Chan Long's leg in the process. Continuing his pursuit of Hong Ki, Qui Lin follows him to a warehouse and a field. They engage in a fierce duel, both sustaining injuries. Despite initial challenges, Qui Lin eventually defeats Hong Ki. Shortly after, returning to the salon, Qui Lin takes Mei Mei with him, eliminating the rest of Hong Ki's henchmen along the way. The following day, Qui Lin and Mei Mei visit the beach. Mei Mei expresses her gratitude to Qui Lin for saving her from Hong Ki, who, as she reveals, was her foster father and had caused her significant suffering. Before parting ways, Qui Lin asks Mei Mei to report him to the police for Hong Ki's murder, hoping to elevate his status as a fugitive. Not long after, at an inn, Qui Lin tended to his injuries while watching the news on TV. As expected, all channels reported on his violent acts. Seeing this, Qui Lin felt a sense of pride and satisfaction, as he was one step closer to achieving his life goal of becoming the most notorious criminal in Taiwan by eliminating the top fugitive. Continuing his quest, Qui Lin sought out Lu Hu's hiding place using the medical note provided by Dr. Chun Hu. However, when he visited a hospital to ask about the letter, the staff instead assigned him a task to deliver his mother's ashes to a specified address. Upon reaching the address, Qui Lin was surprised to find a cult. He was warmly welcomed and treated to delicious food. Later, he attended a sermon delivered by the sect leader, but suddenly fell ill, vomiting black fluid. Concerned, the sect leader accompanied Qui Lin to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with cancer after an examination. Upon learning about Qui Lin's illness, the sect leader saw an opportunity and persuaded him that joining their group could cure him. After going through a ritual to cleanse his sins, Qui Lin shared his motive of finding Lu Hu with the sect leader. However, he was informed that Lu Hu had passed away years ago, and the leader even showed him the grave as proof. Confronted with his dead, Qui Lin decided to join the sect, undergoing a health check afterward, which surprisingly showed no signs of lung cancer, reinforcing his faith in the group. To fully commit to the sect, Qui Lin decided to give up his possessions, including a significant amount of money and his grandmother's wristwatch. Despite feeling hesitant about burning his grandmother's cherished item, he complied with the sect leader's wishes. The following day proceeded normally until a guest suddenly fell ill during the sermon, prompting Qui Lin to rush him to the sect's hospital. There it was revealed that the sect intentionally poisoned new members, including Qui Lin, to bolster their leader's influence. At the same location, Qui Lin observed his medical report being manipulated to sway the young boy's mother. His suspicion of the sect followers grew as they exploited the woman's trust to extract her wealth subtly. To his surprise, the assets supposedly burned in the ritual were actually stored in a warehouse, exposing the deception. Curious, Qui Lin ventured into the warehouse to investigate further. Inside, he discovered that the followers' riches were being amassed to benefit the sect leader. The following day, as the woman underwent the sin-cleansing ritual, Qui Lin intervened to stop her. However, he was outnumbered and attacked by the followers. At the same time, the sect leader ordered Qui Lin to be buried alive as punishment. However, despite being buried alive, Qui Lin managed to free himself from the ground. Feeling betrayed by the sect leader, he retrieved his gun and dug up the supposed grave of Lu Hu, only to find it empty. It turned out that Lu Hu was the sect leader all along, having the same dove tattoo as depicted in the wanted posters. Realizing that Lu Hu was both the top fugitive and his main target, Qui Lin wasted no time. He returned to the hall and confronted Lu Hu's disciples, exposing their leader's true identity and crimes. Without hesitation, Qui Lin executed Lu Hu in front of his followers. However, Qui Lin's thirst for justice wasn't quenched by Lu Hu's death alone. He resolved to eliminate all the cult followers as well. Giving them a chance to flee, Qui Lin counted to 10, initiating a massacre when his countdown ended. Shortly after accomplished his mission, Qui Lin decided to head back to his hometown. While aboard a ship, he took a woman's phone and contacted Captain Chan Long to arrange his surrender at the port. Upon arrival, Qui Lin turned himself in without resistance, even appearing proud in front of the gathered journalists. Due to his ruthless actions, Qui Lin was thrown into prison and sentenced to death. One day, Dr. Chun Hu visited Qui Lin with a shaved head, revealing that she had lied about Qui Lin having stage 4 lung cancer. In reality, she was the one suffering from the disease. Dr. Chun Hu had hoped Qui Lin would surrender to the police, but instead, he ended up eliminating 2 dangerous fugitives. Despite this, Dr. Chun Hu felt relieved as she wanted to atone for her sins by removing those criminals. A few days before his execution, Qui Lin made a final request to be shaved by Mei Mei. Captain Chan Long granted this request, bringing Mei Mei to him. Both Qui Lin and Mei Mei appeared sad yet content during their last meeting. Qui Lin cried as Mei Mei shaved him, and Captain Chan Long gave Mei Mei Qui Lin's pink wristwatch, a symbol of his regard for her. In return, Mei Mei gave Qui Lin a suit with a picture of a pink pig, deeply touching him. On the day of his execution, Qui Lin refused sedation, choosing to face his fate bravely. As he smiled before his execution, he was comforted by the thought of reuniting with his grandmother in the afterlife and concluding the film. Moral lesson from the story: if you chase after trouble, trouble will chase after you too, just like when Qui Lin chased those gangsters and ended up in a hairy situation with the police and a cult leader.